students, welcome back. Now we are going to see the muscles that control temporomandibular joint motions. And these muscles are divided into two groups. One is the primary muscles and another one is the secondary muscles. The primary muscles which control the actions in the temporomandibular joint are: the first one is the temporalis muscle. This is the temporalis muscle. And then masseter muscle, and lateral pterygoid as well as the medial pterygoids. Lateral pterygoid and medial pterygoid muscles. So these are the primary muscles that control temporomandibular joint. There are many secondary muscles are there. These muscles are smaller than the primary muscles. So as we know that in front of the neck we are having a hyoid bone is present, isn't it? Hyoid bone is present. So these secondary muscles are of two types. One is the suprahyoid muscles and infrahyoid muscles. So this is the hyoid muscles. The muscles which are attached above this hyoid, and these muscles are attached between the base of the cranium and the hyoid bone and the mandible. So these are suprahyoid muscles. And then the muscles which are present below the hyoid muscle are called as infrahyoid muscles. The suprahyoid muscles are digastric muscle, geniohyoid, mylohyoid, and stylohyoid muscles, whereas the infrahyoid muscles are omohyoid, sternohyoid, sternothyroid, and thyrohyoid. Totally 8 muscles are present in the secondary muscles, which controls the motions in the temporomandibular joint. Now we are going to see one by one. The first one is the temporalis muscle. This temporalis muscle is flat fan shaped muscle which is wide on the proximal part and which is narrow at the inferior part. So this proximal part is attached to the cranium, whereas the inferior part is attached to the coronoid process on the anterior edge and the medial surface of the ramus of the mandible. So it is present on the anterior edge and the medial surface of the mandible. Okay, and this muscle fills the concavity of the temporal fossa, which is present on the temporal bone, and it can be easily palpated over the temporal bone. The temporalis muscle can be easily palpated over the temporal bone. This muscle mainly helps in elevation of the mandible, that is closing of the mouth. Temporalis muscle helps in the closing of the mouth. Next muscle is the masseter muscle. This masseter muscle is very thick muscle and also powerful muscle. It attaches superiorly to the zygomatic arch and the zygomatic bone, and its inferior attachment is on the external surface of the ramus of the mandible. It is attached on the external surface of the mandible, ramus of the mandible. This is the external surface. We can see this masseter very clearly here, and this muscle can be easily palpated superior to the angle of mandible. We can easily palpate it above the angle of the mandible. So this muscle also helps in mandibular elevation. Masseter also helps in mandibular elevation. Now coming to the lateral pterygoid as well as the medial pterygoid. First one, we are going to see the lateral pterygoid muscle. If you can see this lateral pterygoid muscle, so this upper part, so up to here, this is the lateral pterygoid, and it is divided into two portions. So the lateral pterygoid is divided into two portions. One is the superior portion and inferior portion. So lateral pterygoid is divided into superior and the inferior portions, and these fibers are originating from the great wing of the sphenoid bone. Great wing of the sphenoid bone. So these two fibers travel horizontal direction. These two fibers travel in a horizontal direction, and posteriorly it combines. And posteriorly these two fibers are combining, and it is attached to the neck of the mandible, and it is attached to the neck of the mandible. Okay, so not only the neck of the mandible, and it is attached to the articular disc that you people know. So the lateral pterygoid muscle attaches anteriorly to the articular disc as well as the joint capsule. Okay, so this is about the lateral pterygoid muscle. Normally this lateral pterygoid muscle, the superior portion of the lateral pterygoid muscle is also only the superior part of the lateral pterygoid muscle is also active in mandibular elevation. So what are the muscles helps in mandibular elevation? One is the temporalis muscle, masseter muscle, and also the superior portion of the lateral pterygoid muscle helps in mandibular elevation. Okay, whereas the inferior part of the lateral pterygoid muscle acts as helps in depressor. That means mandibular depressor means opening of the mouth. Now coming to the medial pterygoid muscle, this medial pterygoid is present parallel to the masseter. It is present parallel to the masseter. And in what way it is parallel means in line of force. So both the line of force, so it is acting, but it is acting on the external surface of the mandible. And here the fibers, the superior fibers of the medial pterygoid is attached to the lateral side of the attached to the medial surface of the lateral pterygoid plate on the sphenoid bone. So lateral pterygoid muscle origin की medial side lo this medial pterygoid fibers are attached. Okay, and the inferior attachment is on the internal surface of the ramus near the angle of mandible. So masseter is attached on the external surface of the ramus, whereas the medial pterygoid is attached on the inner surface of the ramus near the angle of mandible. Okay, and the combined action of this masseter muscle and the medial pterygoid muscle helps in protrusion of the mandible. Okay, so these are the primary muscles which act on which act on temporomandibular joints. And retrusion is also taken up by the bilateral action of the temporalis muscles of the posterior fibers of the temporalis muscles. Bilateral action of the posterior fibers of the temporalis muscles helps in the retraction movement. Now, the another important muscle, but it is a secondary muscle. The another important muscle is the digastric muscle, which mainly helps in the depression of the mandible. As we know that it is a suprahyoid muscle. So here it is having anterior fiber. The digastric muscle is having anterior fibers and also posterior fibers. So this anterior fibers are attaching the chin of the mandible. We can call it as chin. And whereas this posterior fibers attaches to the mastoid process. So these two fibers will have an separate tendons. These tendons are getting attached over the hyoid bone. These are attached over the hyoid bone by a fibrous loop. Here a fibrous loop is present. These two tendons are attached on the hyoid bone. Mainly the action of these muscle helps in the depression, that is the opening of the mouth. The digastric muscle mainly helps in the depression or the opening of the mouth, and the hyoid bone is stabilized. For the digastric muscle to depress the mandible. So these muscles are attached on the hyoid bone, but it has to be, during depression, this hyoid bone has to be stabilized. That stabilization of the hyoid bone is brought about by the infrahyoid group of muscles. Okay, so the main action of this digastric muscle is to depress the mandible. Now we have seen these muscles individually, but normally not only the individual muscle helps in a single movement. Here the coordinated movements of many muscles is taking place to get a particular movement. Now if you can see, so the muscles involving in the mandibular depression. So the muscles involved in mandibular depression are the combined action of digastric muscle and also inferior portion of lateral pterygoid muscle, helps in the opening of the mouth, that is called as mandibular depression. Now coming to the mandibular elevation, so we have seen so many muscles which helps in mandibular elevation. The mandibular elevated muscles are the temporalis muscle and also the masseter muscle and also the superior portion of the lateral pterygoid is active in mandibular elevation. So how it happens, now we are going to see. So mandibular elevation is primarily brought about by temporalis as well as the masseter and the medial pterygoid muscles. The superior portion of the lateral pterygoid muscle, is also active in the elevation of the mandible. So here the purpose of this superior fibers are, as we know that the articular disc is attached anteriorly with the superior fibers of the lateral pterygoid, and also it is attached to the capsule, isn't it? So what happens during elevation? Here the purpose of this activity is to rotate the disc anteriorly on the condyle. That means, so the disc has to rotate forwardly on the condyle and the condyle moves back. So if condyle rotates back means, so the mandible is getting elevated. So this rotation will occur up to till this head of the mandible, or we can call it a condyle of the mandible, sits into the mandibular fossa. So to rotate anteriorly, the articular disc on the condyle is brought about by the superior fibers of the lateral pterygoid muscle. So these are the muscles. Coordination of all these muscles helps in the elevation of the mandible. One is the temporalis muscle, masseter muscle, and also the medial pterygoid muscle, and the superficial fibers of lateral pterygoid muscle helps in mandibular elevation. So depression, as we already mentioned that, the digastric muscle, combination of digastric muscles and the lateral pterygoid muscle helps in opening of the mouth. Now another important function, that is the mandibular protrusion and mandibular retrusion. The protrusion is brought about by the bilateral action of masseter and the medial pterygoid muscles helps in protrusion, and the retrusion is brought about by the bilateral action of temporalis muscle with assistance of anterior portion of digastric and suprahyoid muscles. The lateral deviation we will see in the next video. Thank you.